Hey everybody, welcome back to Unite Inside, and I am here with a very important video. I want to discuss with you how can you raise your consciousness? How does consciousness get raised, and how do you become someone that is so conscious of their reality and the importance of becoming conscious, and also how do you even become unconscious? So that's also a question that a lot of people wonder. How do we become unconscious? And also, the first thing I want to talk about is the importance of becoming conscious. The reason why it's so important is because it literally determines how good you are at manifestation. When you are so aware of yourself, of your shadow, of your beliefs, of your feelings, of your patterns, what happens is that you become very aware of the blockages that block your manifestation. And when that happens, you are now able to change them, to release them because of how aware you are. The more aware we are, the more our level of awareness is high, the more we become masters at manifestation. Because then if you become aware of the fact that this is what you're doing to block your manifestation, it can be very easy for you to just choose not to do it because then you're aware of it. Okay, that's why it's very important to reach that awareness. But a lot of us are living a very unaware life. And how do we even become unaware? So this is the first thing I want to begin with is explaining to you how does a person become unaware. So when you were a kid and you were experiencing life, you were whole, which means that you were all of who you are. You were operating from your true self, okay, and not from your ego. But as you go through your experiences, and some of those experiences were very intense and painful, which caused you to decide to create patterns and create a lot of limiting beliefs that your subconscious mind started becoming programmed with. So, what happens is that our subconscious mind becomes programmed. And when we do something over and over, and we feel and we experience something over and over, we start to create a pattern. And this pattern is actually what becomes subconscious. And let me explain to you more, okay? Let's get deeper into it. Remember how there is a lot of things that you do with your life, activities like walking, maybe talking, a lot of other things, walking, talking, eating. You don't really think about it. You don't really um, analyze what you're doing. You just do it, right? When you're someone expects you to talk, you just talk. When you walk, when you're walking outside, you just walk. You don't think about what you're doing when you're walking. So these activities, when you were a little kid, you had to think about walking because you were just experiencing it for the first time. But because you were walking for a long time and you just kept walking, it became an automatic thing. Our subconscious mind works like this. When we repeat activities over and over, our subconscious mind looks at them as, okay, this is how I should act immediately. As soon as I have to do this thing, I have to walk, for example, I just do it. I don't think about it because it just becomes automatic. When you get up, a lot of things that we do are very subconscious. We don't think about the things that we do. And same with our patterns, okay? So when you are experiencing trauma and hurt as a little kid, what happens in that moment is that your mind starts to feel a certain way. You start to feel a certain way. You start to feel that you're not good enough, especially if it happens over and over. And so because of that, you consciously, at first you were conscious of your pain because it hurt in the moment, and you were looking at it as, okay, so I feel very not good enough, I feel very unappreciated, I feel very unworthy. So in the moment when you're experiencing unworthiness and you're feeling it, your mind starts to think, because your mind is a protector. Your mind has a lot of protective urges, and it basically works to protect you, works to make you feel safe and keep you safe. And so because of that, what happens is that as soon as you go through experiences over and over that trigger you and make you feel sad and hurt, and traumatized, your mind starts to work for you to find solutions to prevent you from the same hurts. And that's because you keep going through it. Because our parents have patterns that they do all the time. Like, we don't just get abused once It happens over and over. It's a pattern that a parent is involved in. It's their pattern to protect themselves, and they are projecting it on us. And when we go through that same pain repeatedly, it's almost like our mind starts to think, okay, I need to find a way to feel better about this. How can I feel better about this? Oh, I have to create a coping mechanism. And there is a lot of coping mechanisms that we create, that our mind creates when we're going through pain. Consciously, we think about it, we think it through logically, and then we come up with a certain pattern. Like, for example, we come up with a people pleasing pattern, or an avoidant pattern, or a detachment pattern, or a being more clingy pattern. There's a lot of patterns in the world, and we just come up with our pattern that makes us feel that we're gonna be protected from a certain hurt. And so, because that hurt keeps happening, like nobody breaks the pattern that we are, going through the pattern of abuse that we're going through from our parents, we create another pattern to protect ourselves. First of all, we do this consciously. We think about it consciously. We think, okay, we are going to stop, being ourselves, or we're going to become more manipulative to get what we want, or we're going to become more avoidant. Okay, so it becomes automatic at some point because you go through so much pain, and the same things, to the point that at some point the first thing that happens is that you get triggered, and you don't know why you get triggered. At some point in your life, in your childhood, it becomes that you get into a certain experience, and then you get triggered, and you don't know why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and then you act in a certain way, and you don't know why you're acting in a certain way. And at some point, we hold these patterns with us for a long time, for like literally lifetimes. There's people that created patterns in their childhood that they are still doing until the day they die. That's how strong it is. That's how programmed we can get. Our subconscious mind takes all these triggers and all these patterns and creates this programmation that it just starts to kick in very automatically. Okay, and so that's how unconscious we become of our patterns, because of how many times we go through them. It just becomes something automatic that we even expect. Even when we are not going through abuse, we still get triggered the same way, because it's like there is still that wound that we expect bad things. We expect to be not treated good. We expect to be abused. We expect to be left. We expect to be abandoned. All these things, because of how much we experienced them in childhood, it's almost like a part of us is frozen in that timeline. A part of us, an inner child part of us, is frozen and unable to to see the difference between that we are right now living a different experience than the experience that we've been experiencing when we were kids. So it just becomes very automatic that we just, you know, protect ourselves in that way. And then we can become very unaware of why we do certain things. Even if there's no reason to do them, we still do them because we're programmed to do them. Okay? By, because that's how the subconscious mind works. And when we don't practice awareness, and this is where I'm going to talk about in this video, is we're going to talk about the awareness tool and how important it is to become aware, to practice awareness every day, because not only is that going to help you in actually getting and manifesting what you deserve, but also it's going to help you to become more aware of yourself and understand yourself and know what you need more. Like, if we understand ourselves more, we know what triggers us, we know what makes us go off, we know what makes us upset, we know what makes us crazy, all these things. We can find solutions to all these emotional disturbances that we're experiencing. We can have a better life. And so, with this being said, how do you practice awareness? Okay, how do you do this, and why is it important to practice awareness? Practicing awareness, becoming aware of everything going within you, of your emotions, of your limiting beliefs, you know what that does? That makes you and allows you to manifest, okay, better. You know why? Because imagine you don't know why you're doing a certain thing, but underneath it, subconsciously, you're doing it because you're scared of not getting what you want. You know what that does in the universe? That sends signals to the universe, and it tells the universe that you are scared of what you want and that you don't deserve what you want. And when that happens, that's where you don't manifest what you want. It's because of how unconscious we are and how many unconscious patterns that we play every day and we involve ourselves in every day, that send signals to the universe that we don't deserve love, we don't deserve compassion, we don't deserve what we want to manifest. And those things literally, that's the reason why you're not manifesting what you want. A lot of us think like, why I'm doing everything right, but we don't know that there are some things that we're thinking about that are subconscious. Okay, there are some things that we're doing, like we're acting in a certain way, that underneath it is because there is a fear. Underneath it is because, and we're just not aware of it, and it's actually affecting our manifestations. It's making it hard for us to manifest. And so I want to, okay, so how do you actually become aware? How do you practice awareness? I just want to show you some steps that you can take that actually will benefit you to start practicing awareness if you're a beginner and you haven't been practicing this. Okay, so the first thing is you have to become aware of your fears. And we have a lot of fears within us. And a lot of us, when we have a fear, we tend to shy away from it. So if you find it hard to feel certain emotions because of how afraid you are, um, of them, that's because there is a part of you that you have disconnected from, that you don't want to connect to because of the risk of it not being safe to connect to it. So let me explain to you. So becoming unconscious, we actually sometimes in our childhood intentionally we would intentionally become unconscious. And I want to explain to you why we intentionally choose to become unconscious. Okay, so from my own experience, when I was a little girl, I experienced a lot of abuse when it comes to not being able to speak up and do what I want and express my needs and get what I need emotionally. Okay, and so this happens because my mom was she was going through her own trauma, but she was very scared to, give me my needs because that meant for her that she will not be like basically the one in control, like she didn't want me to be in control. It was just her own fears. And so that's why she treated me in a certain way that traumatized me. And so when that happened to me, I started feeling like every time I want to speak up, every time I want to talk about my needs, every time I want to hold her accountable, she would punish me, hurt me, and treat me really bad. And all these things that she would do actually made me feel that it's unsafe to be to operate from the version of me that loves me. Okay, because we all have different versions of us. I had the version of me that loves me, I had the part of me that wants to protect me and all of that, but and wants to stand up for me. But every time I would stand up for myself, I would get punished and hurt. So what did my subconscious mind think about at that time? I mean, my conscious mind think about, because at first we think consciously. I thought, maybe I'm not safe if I am trying to, I'm not safe in this situation if I try to, like, show my feelings, my true feelings, and like speak my truth and actually love myself and actually show my mom that I love myself. Like, that was not safe for me because I would always get hurt, and she would be very sensitive to the parts of me that loves me. Okay, and she would make sure that those parts of me are hurt. Like, she would, like, like verbal abuse. There was no actual like physical abuse, but it was like, but it's also just as damaging. Okay, and so what I did is that I disconnected from these parts of me. I had the part of me that loves me. That's the thing about people pleasers, is that you see yourself as a people pleaser. You please people, but you don't know why. Where are the parts of you that love you? You don't feel like you have any love or respect for yourself, and I'll tell you why. It's because they are in your subconscious mind. We have disconnected from them. So I consciously chose to stop caring and to stop focusing and becoming aware of and noticing the parts of me that love me and that care about me and my well-being. And I only started giving my attention to parts of me that care about her, that validate her, because that was more safe for me. And so that's the thing I want to tell you about, is that every time I had fears or emotions coming up that I couldn't go into and feel and explore, it was because there was a fear coming up for me that was stopping me from feeling those emotions. And let me tell you what I discovered when I went into that fear. When I went into that fear, I discovered that there was a part of me trying to talk to me and tell me something. And it was telling me to set boundaries. It was telling me to speak up. It was telling me this is not okay. And I was blocking that part because I was refusing to look at it and focus on it. Awareness is just as simple as noticing something and looking at it and acknowledging that it exists. And when we were kids, we actually have disconnected and stopped acknowledging the existence of some parts of us, and that's what we call an unconscious fragmentation. We have a um, yeah, we have actually consciously in the moment disconnected and literally fragmented our consciousness, because when we were kids we were aware of everything within us, we were aware of all of us. But when we started going through trauma, we then fragmented into parts of us. There were some parts that we started becoming more aware of, and some that we stopped becoming aware of. So that's what you have to do is we have to do is we have to discover which parts did we disconnect from as a kid, which parts did we choose to stop noticing, okay, about ourselves. And you can simply do this, like I said. The first thing is to go into your fears. Okay, when you're going through a certain experience and you feel so much fear coming up, it's almost like you don't want to see something, you don't want to hear something, there is an anxiety there. It's because you're afraid of seeing a certain truth, and that truth might hurt, or it might be shocking, or it might be um, uncomfortable, but you have to see it and hear it. It's important for your growth. If you don't hear it and if you don't see it, then you won't be able to listen to your intuition. You're not listening to your intuition when you do that. Okay, there are people, like for example people that have the narcissistic personality disorder. They have disconnected from parts of them that care about other people, that love other people, that have the best interest of other people. The reason for that is because they have experienced a lot of narcissism themselves. Most narcissistic people have been growing in a very narcissistic environment, and in that environment everybody in that environment is only caring about themselves and their needs. Like they might have both parents only caring about themselves and their needs, and the little kid feels like they're all alone and no one will ever care about them. And every time they care, the little kid cares about their parents' needs, they get hurt. It's because their parents don't really return the favor. They don't really care about the kid back. They don't really acknowledge and appreciate the kid for the love and the care that the kid has for his parents or her parents or whatever. And that's why they decide to disconnect from these parts of them, because they hurt them, because it hurts to let these parts out. Okay, because it literally functions as unsafety. It's basically like the mind feels that this is unsafe to keep these parts, so we disconnect from them consciously, but then when we do this, they go to the subconscious, so we don't see them, we don't even recognize that we have these parts. That's why a lot of people that have the narcissistic personality disorder, they literally don't acknowledge the parts of them that feel empathy. They can't tap into these parts because of how much they are. That's why it appears that they have no empathy. And same for people that are empaths, or we call them people pleasers. They actually don't have any empathy for themselves. They can't tap into the parts of them that loves them. And I've been like this, and if you've been like that, you know what I'm talking about. You're very hard on yourself. You are very tough with yourself. You don't really give yourself any excuses, but yet you love other people and you give other people a lot of your love. And that is a big sign that there is some type of a imbalance there. You're not giving, you're not like open to parts of you that actually love you because you have them. It's almost like you don't think you have them. You know, you go your whole life not thinking that you have them, and that's exactly you being unconscious in that moment. Okay, so that's what happens when we have a split in consciousness. Okay, we have so many splits in consciousness because it was unsafe to keep those parts of us conscious. But now that you're an adult, you have to look at them, because if you don't, then you're not going to make decisions for the right place. You're going to make decisions from trauma, and you're going to give off these signals that I was talking about, these subconscious signals. You have to understand the universe is so sensitive to your subconscious mind. Everything that you give off subconsciously, the universe picks up, and that's what the universe gives you. You have no idea how deep this process is. It's so deep. Okay, so let me talk about the second step that you can take to actually become more conscious of yourself. It's so simple. This one is the most simple thing. Give yourself more time to explore your feelings and sit with yourself for as long as you can while you're exploring your feelings, and then record, or you can record it on your phone, or you can just journal it, everything that comes up. What does this process do for you? This actually helps you to become more aware of maybe feelings that you're not really aware of. Maybe you have blocked these feelings, but when we decide to sit with ourselves and be with them, we give them a chance. The more you can practice this presence with yourself, the more you give those parts of you a chance to actually come up and be come up to your awareness, okay? Because those parts of you feel safe when you decide that I want to sit with them and be with them, okay? It's more safe for the body to practice this type of presence, and it will help you to become more aware and to actually discover which feelings are you feeling, why are you feeling them, and which feelings have you been blocking and not letting yourself feel, which actually these emotions are not just emotions. That's why I'm talking about the emotions, because the emotions are actually the secret gateway to your subconscious mind. A lot of people wonder, how can I access my subconscious mind? Through your emotions. Your emotions that you always feel all the time are an indication of your beliefs, okay? You have an emotion about yourself, it's because you have a belief about yourself, okay? These emotions are actually beliefs. They have turned into these emotions, okay? So you have to understand that whenever you have certain emotions, like always feeling worthless, always feeling uncomfortable, always feeling bad about yourself, it's because you have a limiting belief deep down that you have to access from the emotions, okay? So practice awareness and being present with yourself. The third thing that you can do is, this one is also extremely simple, practice meditation, okay? And do the awareness tool while, which I call it the awareness tool. It's the practice that I'm trying to teach you. So just literally meditate every day, but not any type of meditation. You meditate and you become extremely aware of everything that's happening within you, from sensations. You explore everything from your thoughts, from your emotions, everything that's happening, everything from your pains, from your uh, tightness in your body, everything. And then you write everything down, record it, whatever. You just like keep it in a journal. Okay, write it all down. Do this every single day for at least 10 minutes a day, and you can keep making the process bigger and bigger. This is a very important practice to help you to manifest. And also, it's so important for your healing journey too. It's good to know which part of us are hurt and need more love and need recognition, that we have pushed these parts away from us. Okay? Another thing, okay, the fourth step that you can take, also a very important and simple one, is to set a timer and ask yourself questions about your emotions and about your patterns. For example, if you notice that you act a certain way, like you are avoidant or you are clingy or whatever, like if you notice that you act a certain way, or you tend to push yourself away, or you tend to push other people away, sit down with yourself and ask yourself, why do I do this? Even though we know who we are, a lot of times we think, oh, but we know why we do what we do. No, you don't know what you do. You don't know why you do what you do, because it's in your subconscious mind. You're disconnected from it. So you're gonna be shocked how many questions you answer in a way that you didn't even think about. Okay? Sit down and actually ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I act like this? And no, don't force yourself. This is not so that you can put too much pressure on yourself, but just like ask yourself, like gently, why do I do this? And write it down. Ask yourself a lot of questions. What am I trying to get from this? Why am I scared of this? What have I experienced in my life that made me so scared of this? How can I become more aware of this part of me? Why does it look like this part of me kicks in so automatically? What is it trying to protect me from? Everything, and answer these questions. This is going to help you to unpack your patterns. This is so powerful, okay? And the last thing that I want to talk about the awareness tool, the most important one too, is simply every single day I want you to recognize how many parts of yourself you have. Because we're not only one part of us, we are multiple parts of us. So I want you to identify these parts. So this is a very simple exercise. For example, you can just be like, okay, I have the part of me that wants to protect me from not getting hurt in love, but I have another part of me that kind of wants love, but it feels like it's not getting it because the other part is sabotaging it. So everything that comes up for you, every way of acting is actually a part of you that is coming up and trying to protect you or trying to play out. And so becoming aware of these parts of you, write them all down. Okay. And then a lot of times it feels like we're missing a part. Okay. Like, for example, you might feel like you're missing the part of you that actually cares about you or that actually protects you. So you can ask yourself, if you feel that there's any part that's actually missing, ask yourself, where can this part be? How can I feel it in my body? How can I get it out? And actually practice. You know when you're missing a part. You know when there is a part of you that feels missing in the moment. So I know that you know this feeling. So just do a meditation and actually close your eyes. Ask yourself, how can I get this part? Where can I feel it? Um, which sensations do I have in my body? And follow these sensations. Go deep into them. I promise you, the more you do this, the more you're gonna get that part out of you. And then ask yourself, how can I let this part be in my life more? Especially if it's a part that's helpful. Okay. So I hope that you liked this video and that it helped you and that this is going to be something very important for you that you're going to use to raise your consciousness. And I hope to see you in the next video. If you like this, don't forget to like it, share, and comment. If there's any questions that you have, you can put them in the comment section. And also, if there's any questions or things that you want me to answer in other videos, you can definitely feel free to do so. I love you, and I'll see you soon.